Kings Island has opened for the 2024 season, and we've got plenty to discuss. Hello, everyone. Alongside Ryan Sir, I'm Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.
Tower Topics is a podcast by Kings Island fans for Kings Island fans. That's who we are, and that's who we care about. This is our first opening day. First our opening day episode, at least. We've been through several opening days, haven't we?
We have, but yeah, I mean, it's the first time that we've been able to experience the park opening weekend. Friday night was the season pass holder preview. Saturday was the first official opening of the 2024 season, and we had not started Tower Topics when the park opened last year. So, yeah, officially our first opening day episode.
Yeah, and sometimes what we want to talk about is like drinking out of a fire hose because, as with any opening day, we've got thoughts, and I would say that more than not, a lot of stuff surprised us for the good, for the bad, and so on. But let me ask you this first, because this is what a lot of people. Oh, before I go, listen to the end. At the end of the episode, we're going to have a contest where you can win something, and I will tell you the terms toward the end of the episode. But you came to the episode or came to the park for the first time as a guest in almost 2 decades at this point. How was that? How'd that feel?
I had a number of people that texted me or messaged me through Facebook or X, and they asked, hey, was it awkward to be back in the park as a guest? After departing Kings Island last year, after working there for 17 years, and not at all. I mean, it felt like it did, in 1970s, 80s, 90s, up until the time I started working there as a guest. I mean, everything just kind of seamless transition back into guest mode. I think maybe I never left guest mode because I'd walk around the park, and the only difference was I was working there. So there was a seamless transition. It was nice to be back. It was exciting to just be able to experience the park, that way again, and just have some fun with friends.
Do you think that your perspective changed since you had that 17 years being on the other side of this battle?
No, because it felt like nothing. It felt like nothing had changed. It felt like the 1980s all over again. So yeah, I mean, it was all the same. So no, I don't think any perspective changed at all. Maybe well, there is one thing a little bit. I wasn't aware about the food prices. What those, that was kind of sticker shock to me when I saw, what some of the prices of food was. You're away from that for so long that you don't think about it. And maybe, back in the 80s and 90s and that, based on where everything was at that point in time, maybe that was a high price then, so I don't know. But that was the only thing really that caught my attention, a little different maybe I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I remember hearing and I'm just throwing numbers out there. I don't remember the exact story, but when Kings Island first opened, Americana or Resortsville Lake, I believe at the time, was like, we're not worried about them. They're absurd. They're charging $7 to get in, which if you ever want to less than an inflation, $7 versus, I don't know, what, 65, 70 for an individual day ticket. But we will say, let's clarify, you and I both have the meal plan.
We do.
So we can talk a lot about the food. And we do have a lot to say about the food, and we will get to that. Now, you were recognized by a few people, I noticed.
Yeah, a few people. And
okay.
Yeah, that was and it was so good to see, a lot of familiar faces, whether that was people that I had worked with for a number of years or just on the guest side, a lot of season pass holders, coaster enthusiasts, just a lot of people that I had become friends with over the year, and it was really good to see them and reconnect with them over the weekend.
Yeah. So it was funny because you and I were we met up twice on Friday and Saturday, and then on Friday we ate at the brew house, and you had your first pub burger as a guest, which I feel like this picture doesn't do it justice, because if anybody's had a pub burger, they understand how delicious a pub burger is.
It was my first pub burger, period.
It was okay.
The few times that I had a meal in the brew house, I was getting the barbecue, bacon burger, or some other item in there. So the pub burger, I thought it was outstanding. Got that Friday night with my first meal on the dining plan. Went back Saturday, got it again. The consistency was there. Same, delicious burger both times. Great, nice portion of the, you know, what is it? What do they call them? The barrel rolls or potato,
The
you know,
barrels, the
yeah, the
barrel.
barrels, you know, which are, you know, known as tater tots. You know, those were great. The Carolina mustard sauce,
Hmm.
you know, was really good, you know, to go with those items. So yeah, I really enjoyed the meals there, and also tried the Chicken Shack
Hmm.
with the dining plan meal on Saturday. Big fan of the spicy chicken sandwiches at Wendy's. And I got to say, it doesn't take a back seat to the Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich. I mean, it was really good. I would say a little short on the portion of fries, but you're going to
Yeah.
get that. You know, when you've got the, you know, 16-year-old kids behind the counter, there's gonna be a little inconsistency with the fries, and I probably don't need to eat a lot of fries anyway. But
They're
the
doing it for you.
yeah, yeah, appreciate that. The spicy chicken sandwich though was you know, really good, and you know, my first 3 meals there on the dining plan, everything went seamless. You know, no issues whatsoever. Processing my pass and everything that I have associated with that pass with the different add-ons, it all worked flawlessly.
Yeah, mine worked as well. So my only issue, and I'm reaching out to the listeners if anybody has an answer to this, because I did not have the opportunity to contact guest services as it's telling me to do, but I'm unable to add the app, the my card to the app. It says that it's an invalid card. I know it's valid because it gets me into the park and meal plans and so on. So um that was my only hiccup, really. The only other thing that comes to mind is that I bought the drink plan plus because I am now a coffee drinker, and I felt like that was the right thing to do since coffee is offered. And it seems like there's a little bit of inconsistency with the policy for that. Um, we decided to try out. I'm not a big slushy person, but I figured I'd try it since I bought it. So first place we do is we go to the place next to the French Corner, the one that's run by
Yeah.
Midwest Beverage, and they've got the icy mix 'em up, and I saw them turning away one person after another, and finally I'm like, okay, they're gonna. But if anything, they would know where to get the slushies. So I get up to the counter and I'm like, yeah, can I get a slushie here? And they're like, oh, we have slushies here. You can't get them here. You have to get them either in Planet Snoopy or at Coney Treats or whatever it is by the bumper cars. Okay, fine. So I go over to Coney Treats. Their machine's down. I go Planet Snoopy. The line is, you know, 40 people deep because that's the only place you can get your slushies. People are excited because it's a new product offering. Um, Ended up coming back and getting it at Planet Snoopy. The portions were, I thought you would get just the regular cup, like the little red cup, like you do for the drink plan, but you got like a bigger icy, which is weird because you'd think that you would want to give out bigger portions of drinks than you would of ices. But I thought that was really cool. The drink plan plus is $50 as opposed to 35, and it includes coffee. Where I don't know where to get that yet. I've heard that the same place that turned away slushies has coffee, but hot chocolate during Winterfest and the slushies. But
I might have to upgrade to that because I saw a number of people walking around with those icy slushies, and more than I ever usually saw on a given day. So I imagine they've all got that planned. But
yeah,
for $15 more, you know, I feel maybe that's what I should have done.
yeah, for $15 more, it was worth the risk. And it was I usually buy new products as they come out. I mean, hence prestige and so on. I'll give it a shot. But then we ran into some fans of the show, which is weird to say, and they had orange
Yeah,
slushies. And I was like, where did you get orange slushies? They're like, oh, the place next to the French Corner. So I guess we had a policy pivot in either just Saturday or from here on out, like give them out. But that's always been a problem with new stuff. It's like you should expect that if there's something new and something that you get included with a pass, uh, that it's going to be very popular at first, especially. So having it just 2 locations was probably not well thought out. Which brings us to the double stacked chicken sandwich,
yes, I wanted to make
the
sure we touched on
mysterious.
that. You and I had both heard about that.
Yes.
We heard some, you know, being featured as something that was new this year. We heard some guests talking about how good that was. So we go over to the brew house to get it. And as soon as we get in there, it's on the menu. But as soon as we get up to where they kind of like check you in, they said, we're out of the double stack chicken sandwich. And this was
Yeah.
only like what 7:30,
It was
7:30.
yeah.
So there was still time in the evening. But yeah, popular item. We thought maybe okay, they're out of it. And then I was looking so forward to it again on Saturday,
Mm,
and one of the first group of maybe 30, 40 people to go into our Miami River Brew House on Saturday, and it's not even on the menu.
yeah.
So I guess they made enough to have 17 people get that on Friday, and that was about it. So nobody had an answer for what happened. Would it be back? Nobody can answer that question.
Nobody could answer that question, and I I don't want to speak on behalf of the park, but I'd be shocked if it's just not a situation where they were out of it, and if they took it off the menu, people would ask about it less. So
Yeah.
that's just what they did, and they could have used last year's sign because everything else was the same. So they could have just took out the old one. But I don't think it's gone forever. In their defense, if they ran out, I mean, they're not getting a supply of chicken breast overnight between
No, but how
Friday and
could you run
Saturday.
out that quick? I mean, we're talking just one Friday night. Park opens at 4, 7:30. They're already out.
Yeah, but again, it's a new item. It's on the meal plan, so I bet 70% of the people in the brew house ordered that item. I guarantee you that's what happened. So, it's
Well, if you work for the Kings Island food team and you're listening to this episode, send us a message on X and just let us know if we can look forward to the double stack chicken sandwich perhaps as early as next weekend.
yeah. And how many chickens have to die for this double stack? I assume two if it's double stack. Um, anyway, we're sitting in the brew house. We're eating our pub burgers. We start to leave, and while we're sitting in there, you're telling me like, oh, I've had so many people come up to me and say, hey, you're the guy from the podcast. Expect to get that. I didn't get any of that. You attributed it to me wearing sunglasses. That's not true. So we're leaving, and this group of people come up and they're like, hey, it's Don from Tower Topics, and they clapped for you. And I'm standing there, your co-host, that probably says more words on this show than you do, and they didn't even have any idea who I was.
Because you're wearing sunglasses.
I
Nobody's going to
wasn't wearing them
recognize you with
inside
sunglasses.
at 8 o'clock at the brew house. No,
And maybe
it's
you're a
fine.
little taller than you look on the podcast. Maybe that's
Yeah,
throwing
should I
people off.
position my camera? So, I mean, is this more? Does it make me look taller?
I don't know.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But no, it was so nice to hear people come up to us and tell us that we're not talking just 3 or 4 people. I mean, there was a lot of people that came up and said, "Hey, it's the podcast guys," or "Hey, I enjoy listening to the podcast. Really
It's
like the content that you put
It
out
was
there."
constant. It was constant. We went to ride the racer and somebody was yelling at us from the train, Tower Topics.
And they
So,
waited for us to get off the train to tell us how much they enjoyed the episode.
yeah, which is awesome. Because first of all, I love getting feedback from people. To me, hey, love the show, man. Love the show. So I always try to go more in depth if I have time. Like, what do you like about it? What episodes did you like? And stuff.
What I
So,
liked about it was they said they were getting, park information
Mhm.
and just things that were going on at the park that they appreciated that we were able to provide, some of that or some answers to some questions and things that they had. But we really appreciate those that approached us to say that they listen, they enjoy the show, and we're really just scratching the surface on what Tower Topics is going to be. I think if you liked it up to this point, you're really going to like what we do over the next few months.
Yeah, we're just getting started. And if anything, we were super motivated, and we haven't even gotten into our reception from the park, which was not what I kind of expected. But I will say this, Don. I don't know if it's just that you have a legacy, or if it's because now you're on to Tower Topics, or what. I'd like to think it's Tower Topics, but let's be honest here. You don't work there anymore. You're still the face of the park. I think that if anything, this weekend has made it very clear that that's true. Don Helbig is Kings Island, and Kings Island is Don Helbig.
Well, Ryan, it's been part of my life since 1972, and I was
Mhm.
there. I mean, before Nick Gaskins, I was Nick Gaskins in the 1980s, there all the time. So got to know a lot of people that way. I do feel a little old when there were I run into individuals, they worked on the racer crew in the 1980s, and they're introducing me to their grandkids. So that makes me feel a little bit old, right now. But no, it's just I had an opportunity to I guess, 40 plus years, going back to 1981 when I got my first season pass, but to just really meet a lot of people, become friends with a lot of people. And, it's always good to see those people at the park.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really cool because now you're transitioning over kind of unchained. You're not drawing a paycheck from them and stuff. Now you can talk about Kings Island. You can share your honest opinions and your honest takes and so on, without really a filter. That's the beauty of it.
They see this as an avenue to help create awareness for what they're doing. I mean, there's so much that you name the department at Kings Island, they put a lot of time and effort, and they want to put on just the best possible product or show and things for the guest. And if we're able to help create a little more awareness for what they're doing, I think they appreciate that. There's things that nobody really knows much about. They've heard very little or nothing. And let's take Soak City, for instance. When you go back through all the different names and that it's had over the years, but it's the 35th anniversary for it. Well, you've got the lazy river, there, and the guests aren't going to notice when the water park opens on Memorial Day weekend. But there was a lot of work on that trough, that you go around where they just, redid the flooring there and everything. Nobody's going to know about that. But that's a substantial investment by the park. They're really proud of the work, that's being done there. And, as we're talking about right now, it's an opportunity for us to kind of, give a shout out to the maintenance team that, hey, we put a lot of work into this attraction in Soak City for you.
Yeah, and I see it this way. We've demonstrated in a lot of ways that we're not reliant on park participation, because we had no semblance of that until 2 days ago, as of this recording. So when if we have people on to talk about the new food, the new pastries, the new events, stuff like that, that's going to be, as far as I'm concerned, considered an endorsement, because we don't have to have people on. And if we either pursue somebody to come on to talk about something, or if we accept an offer to come on to talk about something, it's going to be because it's something we want out there.
Yeah. And the other piece of it, you talked about people coming on to the, on the show here. What we really need is, we just need the information a lot of times, and we'll talk about it. Nobody has to make a time commitment to come on the show to be a guest. We can still talk about it as long as we know, hey, we've got this new item, and whatever it might be, a T-shirt, a food item, a pastry.
Yeah.
A change in the ERT schedule for Gold Pass holders. We're an avenue to kind of help get that out there. If that were to happen, you can put it on the web, you can put it on the app. But if somebody looked at it in April and they wrote down what they thought the early ride times were, they might not ever go back to the website or the app again to look at that. So a place like us, if there's a change, just say, hey guys, can you kind of help us push that out there to let people know that that's changed? We're happy to do it.
Yeah, but we'll also proactively,
if we do it, if we notice it ourselves. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things we don't notice. So
yeah, absolutely. So that transitions me into my next point, where we're talking about some very cool merchandise. We have some anniversary merchandise, and if you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see this. So we got Banshee, Beast, Diamondback, and it looks like there's 2 different variations of T-shirts, and it says 15th anniversary, 45th anniversary, 10th anniversary. I think these look awesome, especially the Beast one because the Beast logo might be the best logo in the industry, and I think that's so freaking cool.
Well, it's certainly up there, and that's of the anniversary items that I had a chance to take a look at yesterday. That was the one that I like the best. But it's a nice selection. I like the fact that they're recognizing these different attractions, these different roller coasters that are having anniversaries this year.
Yeah, I think that's so neat. So we're talking about that, and then I'm just kind of going through the photos I took. But there's a really good, interesting one that I'm kind of excited about, and I have not partaken in it. Maybe I don't have a photo, but they've got hot sauce from the different rides, from Mystic Timbers, Banshee, Beast. I have a short here. Maybe this might come through kind of choppy, but I'm going to play it anyway. But um, so Mystic Timbers, Beast, Banshee, Hot Sauce. So I think that's super neat as to what they were doing.
Yeah, I like that.
So
They've kind of sampled that a little bit before in previous years. It wasn't the full lineup that you see there. Might have been one different ride. I think there was maybe one for maybe it was Diamondback hot sauce or something, but they've had the different barbecue sauces too, using the ride names. But I think that's really cool to do that too. And it's one of those, you buy it. Do you want to, do you want to use it, or do you just want to
that
keep
would
it
be
as a
my
souvenir?
concern because I really
Yeah,
want to try it. Then again, I mean, they're like $12, $13. I could buy two, one to keep and one to use, but I think that's interesting.
yeah.
And then we've got 21 and Colder is going to be the name of the bar that's going to Cony Mall, which is currently under construction. Now, I assumed that it would just be Subway and they'd be serving quick stuff out of the windows there. But if you look at the photo, it looks like they ripped out the front of the building to make it more bar-like. Now, whether they have seating or not in the future, I don't know.
I think that's going to be really nice. Over the years, it's when it Subway, and I think this will be the best that they've had at that location since it was this sweet, what was it called, the Sweet Tooth, back in the day, where you used to be able to get the ice cream cones, the cotton candy. So I think that this is going to be the best use of that building since then.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was Subway. What was it before Subway? Was it Sweet Tooth before Subway, or was it something else?
Yeah, Sweet Tooth, and then it became a Subway. Now, I mean, that's one of those. It wasn't unique to the park, a Subway. You
No.
can get Subway outside the park. So those are the types of things that I thought were kind of misfits in areas like, Coney Mall. Even International Street. When Skyline Chili was there, as much as I and you and everyone else loved Skyline Chili, it was just kind of a disconnect with International Street. I think putting Grain and Grill there enhanced International Street, brought back a better feel for International Street to get some of those IPs off International Street. Now, La Rosa's Pizza, it's always been there, so it's kind of a fit. But yeah, I mean, I think in Coney Mall, Subway just wasn't a fit, and I think this is a good direction that the park is going to go to put something like this, in there. It's going to look really nice for that, 21 and over crowd.
21 and Colder.
21 colder, yeah.
I wanted the opportunity to say the name again because I think it's a really cool name.
Yeah, 21
But
and colder. It is a cool name. It is a cool name.
now, we'd be remiss. It would be a malpractice if we didn't talk about lots of problems with the rides. Which, if you want to have something synonymous with opening day at any park, it's that the rides do not want to participate. I guess it's kind of like when teachers are trying to teach their kids something on the first day of school and they're still in summer mode. This is the opposite. They're still in winter mode. But, one thing, this is just an interesting thing, but I took this from over by the vortex, but they were evacuating the Beast. I want to go ahead and say, like, no one's ever hurt with this. This is very routine. If you watch this, you know enough about the rides just to know that they're mechanical devices. They run on computers. The computers have a glitch. If the computer has a glitch, the ride shuts down. It operated perfectly. But nonetheless, this is something that I thought was kind of interesting because you don't see it every day on the Beast. But they gave out the trading cards for the anniversary rides, and I believe that Diamondback was the only one that opened on time.
Yeah, Diamondback did open on time. The Beast, I was in line for that. It went down real quick. I think there was, a couple trains got out before it went down. A couple years they changed when they did the track rework. They changed the gate. The exit gate had been, with a latch, but they changed it to that magnetic, way to close it and keep it closed.
Yeah.
And that's been an issue. Last year it's an issue, already on opening day this year, and it shuts the ride down a lot. I would, if I'm them, I go back to the latch because, you can't have the ride going down, a couple times a week, for extended periods of time. People's time's valuable. I got in line, right when the park was ready to open. So I was one of the first ones through the queue. And just to have, it was an hour and 5 minutes before, I left. I didn't get that hour and 5 minutes back because of a magnetic gate, the exit gate. Nothing to do with, the ride itself. There was nothing, it wasn't a electronical thing or anything.
Mhm.
Nothing wrong with the chain, those type of sensors. It was with the exit gate. And that would be something that, it inconveniences guests. I know why they want to do that, but you can't have something like that shutting down the ride, multiple times a day or anything like that. So that was a little
Yeah.
bit of a disappointment there. Didn't get to ride the Beast, but you had the other ones. Banshee uh, didn't open on time, so they shifted the morning ERT over to Vertigo, which didn't open on time. So
Yeah.
you have a lot of that now. Early in the season, you can. Everyone is like, you had all winter to get the ride ready to go, and they do have it ready to go. But the problem is when you get to the first couple of operating days, it's a little different than when you have those, what they call the water dummies and that, you put in the trains when you're starting out at the beginning of the year for all the test cycles. It's a little different when you put the actual, human bodies on the trains. And it has a little bit of an impact. It's usually the coasters where you have those problems. You don't see it on things like the Scrambler and the Dodgem or any of those kind of rides. But it's the coasters because it's just a little bit different and it takes a little while. So you're going to have, they could have been 90 degrees on opening day and you'd still have those same kind of problems. So it's just
Yeah.
something that, you deal with when you're a seasonal park. Happens, throughout the industry. And by the time you get to that, second, third weekend, there's been enough cycles with the human bodies on it that it adjusts and you don't see those issues anymore.
Yeah. And a lot of it also is attributed to they do regular maintenance during the off season, as you kind of mentioned. So if there's any kind of issue, sometimes it comes to a head on opening day, because I bet if they worked with that gate or something on a Thursday night, there's a good chance that there could be an issue on Friday just because you don't know what you don't know. But that's either here to, I don't want to dwell on that too much because I feel like most people that come to the park, most people who know what they're doing, who come to the park and a lot of stuff is down
You expect
under,
it, yeah.
they understand what's going on. Um, so I want to touch on some other things. Again, I'm looking through my photos because I knew we had a lot we wanted to discuss, but the Chicken Shack, when we ate there, uh, they changed it so it now has like new picnic tables, which I think
Oh,
are
nice.
really nice. I think because the red ones that they had from the old Action Zone days when it was like Paramount Action Zone, like there was nothing for some reason it always felt like there was like ketchup dried on them and stuff. This is so much better. I really really like this. This looks classier. I don't know if there's more seating. I'm a little concerned with that, but as far as this is concerned, I think this is fantastic.
I like it.
Yeah. So then moving on to, we finally got to see Planet Snoopy too, Camp Snoopy. Let me pull up a photo of that with that, but it seemed like there is a ways to go with it, but here's the area immediately in front of the amphitheater where that play area is going to be, and then directly in the very front, it's going to be the astroturf grassy area and stuff. Um, a lot of things can happen in a short amount of time, but I would be surprised uh, if this opens closer to the beginning of May. That's what I want to say about it. I'm no
Yeah.
expert, of course.
Yeah. I mean, I
Um,
wouldn't look at it to open, the early part of May. They've been saying late spring. I think it certainly looks from what we could observe yesterday that it will be, late spring with it. But things do come together quickly.
they
So while it
do.
looks like there's a lot to do, I mean, and there is, but it'll come together quickly, and it's going to look beautiful once it's done.
Yeah, and here's Snoopy Soapbox Racers, which is everyone said that went on that construction tour last Sunday, that it looks way taller than they thought it was going to. And I agree. I think it looks awesome. I think this is going to be so fun and it's going to be such a great addition. And the beauty of it is you can't even at this point say like, oh, I've seen it, because the way that this construction wall that you see at the bottom is laid out, you can't really see like the heart, the viscera of the ride. All you can see is the spikes. So
Right.
there's a lot more in between. So this kind of looks like Wicked Twister the way that you see it now.
Yeah, but that's going to be a fun ride for families.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really cool. And then I wanted to get your thoughts on this. The new paint job.
I love it. I
I
think
think it looks so good.
I think it's adorable with the. I like the story, the backstory with it. That they've made it look like a tree with the
Mhm.
the green for the leaves and the brown and that for the tree trunks and this backstory with Woodstocks delivering mail to the campers in Camp Snoopy. I really like the backstory. I think this looks phenomenal. It's the best that ride has ever looked.
Yeah, I mean, it looked really good as Rugrats Runaway Reptar. I really enjoyed that too. But with that being said, does it look better than it did? Is gosh, I can't even remember the old name. That's how fast things move. But
Flying Ace
yeah,
aerial chase.
Flying Ace Aerial Chase. That's it. Yeah. So so yeah, I think we saw. Was there anything else you could think of that you wanted to touch on that we saw?
No, I think for opening weekend, I think the park looked really good.
Hmm.
The rain, leading up to opening weekend, kind of helped a little more greenery in the park than you sometimes see at this point in time in April. So I thought everything looked nice. I thought the staffing, I want to talk about the staffing levels. I thought that was really good. Nothing was
Hmm.
down because of staffing. So there was not an issue there. So that's really good to see that it looks like the park is going to be well staffed going into the spring season, leading up to the core season in the summer. So and everybody seemed to be pretty well trained too. You got a lot of first time employees. It's their first ever job, but everybody seemed to be very well trained to start the season. So that was exciting and good to see.
Yeah. And one more thing I wanted to bring up. I don't know if you and I even discussed this in person, but they have this mystery patio over by the Chicken Shack now, like between the Chicken Shack and the Fest House. And this has to have more reasoning than what we see here because there's like four benches like a fake plant. So they have some sort of plan with this. A friend of mine theorized, he said there's drains and stuff up there, and he thinks that they're going to put in a new like Coca-Cola Cool Zone kind of thing, which would be cool. But it's I don't think that they just said, "Oh, we need more seating," and then they put all this effort into this. You know, I don't have a whole lot to say about that, but
No, no, not
but
until we see more. Not until we see more. It was just kind of like you said, curious as to what that was, what the reasoning there was.
yeah, cool. So let's get the giveaway. So I've got one of the packs of the anniversary cards that I'm giving away, and that's going to be given away to somebody that comments the keyword opening day on the YouTube video for this. So leave it in the comments of the YouTube video. Twitter, anything else, sending me like, I don't know, Pony Express, not going to count. Keyword opening day, put that in the comments, and I will randomly choose somebody and I will send out a pack of these opening day cards completely unopened. So very, very exciting. Okay. So let's move on to the listener question. Did you have the listener question down or do you want me to pull it up?
You pull it up.
Okay.
Surprise me.
I can surprise you, but um, you wrote the question, or you didn't write the questions, you picked them, so it's hard to say. Uh, so this one is from Elijah Maccabi, Coaster Boomer. He said, with restaurants like Coney Barbecue having trouble keeping ketchup in stock, is it time for the greenhouse to grow tomatoes? I didn't have that experience, but I didn't eat at the Coney Barbecue though.
Well, I mean, maybe it's worth looking into if keeping ketchup is an issue, keeping that in stock.
Disney does that. They source their fish from Living with the Land. That's where they grow their fish for most of the restaurants. But yeah, I
Yeah, I mean,
didn't
it is
see.
important to keep ketchup in stock. I mean, if that happened, it's important. So yeah, maybe that's a good thing they should start to look to do at the greenhouses, grow their own tomatoes.
They can grow their own tomatoes. That's so green of them. But okay, cool. Hey, happy opening weekend. We'll see everybody next weekend, of course. Kings Island's open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so that's pretty exciting. I'm Ryan Sir, along with Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.